I love Pride Month. I do not love all the discourse that surrounds it. Every year there seems to be some touching point that inflames the internet surrounding Pride Month. My name is Liz. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about whatever strikes my fancy as well as sharing snippets from my life. I happen to have grown up in a cult. I happen to be bisexual. And I happen to talk about both of those things on the internet, but I also have a fun little life, so if you want to stick around for all of that, drop a comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you all over the internet. But for now, let's talk about who's allowed to be bisexual, because that seems to be the discourse of Pride 2025. I also like to do my makeup while I do these conversations because I have ADHD and I need to do something with my hands. Otherwise, the video feels a little bit like I'm preaching, and I don't want to feel like I'm preaching. I just want to talk about being bisexual, the expectations on the bisexual community, and how it interacts with the rest of the LGBTQ community, and who is Pride for anyway, but for all of us. I've been asked multiple times about this color corrector, and I wanted to share that somebody asked me in a recent video where I got this color corrector. I got it from Revolution Beauty. I love it, but they recently changed and are now selling it in this tube instead of this. I will say this has always felt much creamier, and I love how thick it layers on. This is not as thick, but I still think it's pretty effective, so I'm going to go ahead and endorse it. This is a product endorsement. Sorry for the product endorsement, but I'm putting on my makeup and I wanted to embrace, and I wanted to clarify this because somebody recently asked me in a video and I shared the updated product and I had not used it yet, so I wanted to let you know whether I like the new formula, because I think they changed the formula to be less thick to go in the tube. And I do like the new formula. I do think, did you just see how less red I am? Also, if you hear me slurring more or having more of a lisp, please be patient with me. My wisdom tooth is impacted. I only have one wisdom tooth. This is not related to the topic, but this is a little bit of a life update. Everybody has 4 wisdom teeth but me. I only have 1 wisdom tooth because when I was a teenager, they decided to remove all 4 of my wisdom teeth. But I am also a redhead, and redheads are genetically disposed to be more intolerant to both anesthesia and pain medication. So I woke up while they were pulling out the 3rd tooth during the surgery, and I started fighting the dentist because it was extremely painful. And when they started drilling into the 4th tooth, I was inconsolable. I was sobbing and they couldn't get me to calm down. And when your mouth is, you know, a dentist is in your mouth, your nose is stopped up. You're supposed to be under, and I 100% wasn't. And they didn't know how much more anesthesia to give me. They couldn't get me to calm down. So they were drilling into the jawline for the 4th tooth, and I was fighting the dentist, and the dentist gave up. He pulled back. He said, I'm calling the surgery right now. We're not doing it anymore. And my wisdom tooth has stayed in there ever since. Never had any problems. Everyone says your wisdom teeth come in your 20s if they decide to grow in, so I'm 31. I thought, I've made it. And a couple years ago, a dentist saw it on the x-ray and said, wow, that looks pretty gnarly. Hopefully it will never come in. Great way to make me nervous if it ever came in. It has decided to come in. I started having intense jaw pain on Monday. I was gonna film this video on Tuesday, but on Tuesday I was in pain all day. Wednesday, I could barely speak. I was in such vivid pain, but thank God I was able to schedule a dentist appointment. I'm on antibiotics and pain medication now, and I have a consult for surgery in a month because apparently all of the children get their wisdom teeth pulled in the summer because they're out of school, so it's extremely difficult to get a oral surgeon consultation to see if you need surgery for your wisdom teeth if you didn't book it way in advance in the area I am in, because of all the surgeons are booked out for school children. So in the meantime, my mouth is swollen. I don't know if you can see it from like this angle, but inside my mouth it is very swollen. Thankfully I'm on antibiotics, so the pain is not as intense, but we got to get my last little bit of wisdom out, and who knows what will happen to my life then, because I'll have no wisdom to guide me. I know that was a very chaotic opening to this video. I think I'm a little nervous about the topic, so maybe I'm talking about everything but the topic, just because I am nervous about this discourse. This discourse has been eating at me. I see it almost every day this past week on TikTok. It started with Jojo Siwa, who came out as queer on Big Brother UK and has started dating a man who's also more than a decade older than her. And Jojo was, quote, the queen of gay pop.
Start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? but it's gay pop.
She very much like embraced that identity, even though a lot of us didn't view her in that way. She viewed herself. She was probably one of the most public, visible lesbians of our generation because she had such a fandom behind her. She just had like such a large audience, and you know, she was on Big Brother. Celebrity Big Brother, I think, is the actual, I've never watched it, so I don't really know, but there was actually a contestant on there who joked about turning her non-gay, who was removed from the show for being homophobic, which he should have been removed, so thank God for that. But you know, there is this idea that lesbians are just need the right man to come along and then they won't be a lesbian anymore, and that was like the homophobic undercurrent of his comment towards her, and then he was removed from the show. And I thought, okay, it's done, like no more lesbian turning straight discourse. And then Jojo, who had a partner while she was on the show, started being very intimate and emotionally vulnerable with a man on the show, and when the show ended, she broke up with her current partner and then started very publicly dating this man and said, I'm no longer a lesbian. There is this idea that like, if you can't say I was a lesbian if you are bisexual. I think I have recently learned that it's better to say I did identify as a lesbian, but I was never a lesbian. It's just a very difficult line to draw if you've only dated women or people who present as women, and then you realize you're bisexual. What do you call that time period in your life when you were only dating women? Because I experienced that. I was like Jojo in that I never dated men. I 100% thought I was a lesbian. I was very content as a lesbian. I was, quote, a gold star lesbian. I don't even like that phrase, but I was. And then I realized that I was attracted to a man in my life, and I at first said, no, that can't be. I'm not, that attraction is, you know, this is weird, this isn't real. And then it came slowly, after several months, I realized like I am bisexual. I did not share that feeling for a long time. I remember, you know, my social media audience, my friends all thought I was a lesbian. It took me quite a long time to both come to terms with that and to share that with my audience. And I almost felt this embarrassment that I had, you know, betrayed who I was because everyone perceived me as a lesbian, and it felt weird to not be that anymore and to come out as bisexual. And that brings me to the second celebrity that has caused a lot of discourse, and that is Fletcher. She has been in very public relationships with women, and her music has centered about those relationships. It's also caused a lot of like drama. She's written very publicly about her breakups, been kind of nasty towards her exes, and a lot of lesbians have identified with Fletcher. So Fletcher has recently come out with new music and has shared with people that she is dating a man, and in the process people have said, oh, Fletcher never identified as a lesbian, she has always identified as queer. That was news to me. I thought Fletcher was a lesbian, like I had assumed so because of her music, and so that was a surprise to me. But to the internet, it felt like a big betrayal. Like Fletcher was saying her past was messy and wrong, and now she's with a man, so she's at peace and she's calm. I want to share that I got the Tangled ColourPop collection color palette, and I think it is the most bisexual palette out there because it's purple, and purple is like the bisexual color, y'all. Anyway, I really enjoy this palette. So let's talk a little bit about the accusations I've seen leveled at Fletcher. People have said that Fletcher is embracing a trad wife aesthetic and using her past as like, and looking down on her past. I find that very interesting because what in the world is a trad wife aesthetic? When I think of trad wife aesthetic, I think of Hannah Neely from Ballerina Farms, and that is not what Fletcher, to me, Fletcher's aesthetic is not that. Like, I'm looking at her recent post and I'm like, this looks more like Casey Musgrave's latest country album to me than it does Ballerina Farms. Unfortunately, I think anything lately that highlights femininity also bears the risk of being called trad wife, mostly because of this administration. This administration doesn't feel safe for feminism, it doesn't feel safe for LGBTQ people, because it is not. This administration is propped up by people who don't want to give women the right to vote, who think women belong at home in the house being housewives and mothers. This administration is propped up by people who are anti-LGBTQ, who think marriage is between a man and a woman, and that LGBTQ people should be forcibly closeted and detransitioned. So it is not a safe administration for people of color, for LGBTQ people, and for feminists. And because of that, anything that likens itself to femininity, see if I can say that word correctly, comes alongside this bad taste in our mouths of trad wife fascist aesthetics. And that is just the sad truth of it. Does it mean that I think that's correct? No, but because people are highly sensitive to anything that resembles trad wife aesthetics, and because our culture is so inclined towards nostalgia and nostalgia bait, then even things that are not that become that. Just look at far-right provocateurs highlighting blue voting towns in Michigan in the Northeast as symbols of this is what America would be without black and brown people. And so when an artist presents themselves in a way that can be confused, even wrongfully confused with trad wife aesthetics, people are justified in getting alarmed and being on edge and being upset. I don't think they're right, but that doesn't mean that I don't understand where they're coming from. I don't think dating a man is inherently a trad wife aesthetic, and yet that seems to be some of the pushback. Is like, if you're not a lesbian, if you are not centering women only in your life, then you are siding with fascists. And yes, there is an inherent privilege in having a man. I am safer as a woman in Florida because I'm dating a man right now than I was when I was also dating women, and I am open to both dating men and women now, but I've had a boyfriend for 2 years, so it's highly likely that I'll be still dating a man for a while. Was dating women when I was dating both men and women. Whenever I was on a date with a woman, I was viciously catcalled. I felt threatened by homophobic people in my community, and we had to be on guard that we were not attacked. And as a bisexual person, I am privileged that because I have a boyfriend, I am safer. That doesn't mean that there aren't times that I am, let's say, verbally attacked in my community as a bisexual woman. When straight guys hear about that, there have been like very fratty comments made to me about like, oh, you're gonna leave your boyfriend for a woman, that you're more promiscuous, that different things like that. Just men tend to, it seems to be that when men hear that you're bisexual, they think that means that you are open to being sexually viewed more than other women, and that you will be okay with being sexualized in a way that they wouldn't sexualize a straight woman. That doesn't mean that like I'm physically at risk more than lesbians and people of color and queer people in the South. It's just a reality of being bisexual, is that you are othered by straight people around you, and that's just something you'll run into over and over again. And like it is something like I choose to tell people in like my people outside of my circles that I'm bisexual, because I don't want to hide that part of myself. I don't want to be embarrassed by it. I don't want it to be viewed as, oh, dating women was shameful or anything like that. I choose to be vocal about that, and that runs into confronting people's biases. And I'm not saying confronting those biases is like a brave thing of me, but those biases do exist, and I think as a bisexual woman, I have the privilege of confronting them and also being like, what you're saying is pretty stupid. So therefore, when they go to say something transphobic or homophobic about other members of the community, maybe they think twice before saying it in front of me, because they know I will call them out, because I've also called them out for saying bigoted things about me being bisexual. That is just my experience as a bisexual woman in the South. I don't know what it's like being bisexual in more liberal places, but I think homophobic and sexist perceptions of people existed all over the world, but I'm specifically highlighting where I live in the South in Florida. I also saw people say like Fletcher shouldn't do this at a time when trans people are under attack, because it just makes the LGBTQ community look bad, and it looks like people can change their sexualities. And I just want to say that I think that's a straw man argument. I think that argument is trash. Like, you shouldn't tell a person, oh, don't do this because it's gonna make the whole community look bad. That's like people telling protesters, you shouldn't protest because it makes all of us look bad. That is literally, like, I've heard people say that about the anti-ICE protest happening right now, and I think it's very toxic to tell somebody you can't live authentically and share your journey of discovering your sexuality or embracing your full picture of your sexuality because it's going to make other people look like they can change. the definition of bisexual and queer and what Fletcher embraces is that sexuality is attracted to both men and women and other people. So I don't understand how changing the gender of the person they're dating publicly, like saying I'm dating a man when I also dated women, impacts transgender people. Like I don't get it. Maybe there's something there that I am missing, but I think if someone wants to attack the transgender community and say like, oh, because Fletcher can date a man, you can detransition, I think that you should just say, oh, you're wrong. Like, would you tell a bisexual person, oh, because you can also date men, you should never date women again? Like, that is just like ex-gay language. But also, maybe it is on artists like Fletcher and Jojo Siwa to publicly state like, I am bisexual, I am attracted to both men and women, or I am queer, I'm attracted to people of all genders, I'm pansexual, I'm attracted to people of all genders. Don't attack lesbians, transgender, and gay men who are not attracted to the opposite sex or who have transitioned. Maybe there is some responsibility on bisexual and queer and pansexual people to be very, very public with that. And I'm not saying that like Fletcher or Jojo haven't done that, but I don't think we should attack them because of their public relationships, because of what a right-wing person is gonna say. Because people who are anti-LGBTQ will use anything to be anti-LGBTQ, and Fletcher or Jojo Siwa's relationship is not going to change that. Jojo Siwa could be dating a woman, Fletcher could be dating a woman, and also saying I'm bisexual, and they will still say hateful things about trans people. Like, that's just the reality of anti-LGBTQ people and how they think. And I'm not going to spend my energy, especially during Pride, attacking fellow members of the LGBTQ community because of homophobic people. Like, I'm just not going to do that. But also I'm bisexual, so I don't want to attack my fellow bisexual people. I've also heard people say, you know, Jojo Siwa is platforming a bisexual stereotype. Yeah, she is. And as a bisexual woman, that's really freaking annoying. Like, when I started dating my boyfriend, this is true, if you're my boyfriend's family, don't watch this part, my boyfriend's family expressed concern to him that I would leave him for a woman. Like, if I was straight, I could also leave him for a man. Like, he could leave me for another woman. Like, I don't think because I'm bisexual that I'm more likely to leave my boyfriend or be more likely to cheat. And yet Jojo Siwa doing that on national television does not help bisexual people. Also, that smile really hurt. Don't smile so big, Liz. That's just the reality. Like, those bisexual stereotypes will always exist. When a bisexual person does something messy and wrong on national television, it perpetuates that stereotype. But I'm not going to attack their bisexuality for that, and I hope you don't either. I hope you can say this behavior is wrong, that doesn't reflect on their sexuality, it reflects on their character as a person. And Jojo Siwa's character is kind of gross, and it always has been. Like, she's always been toxic when it comes to her what she has presented publicly in her relationships. We don't really know her outside of her relationships and what she's publicly presented, but it has always appeared pretty toxic. This comment makes me very sad, but Billie Eilish was also spotted kissing a man, and Billie Eilish has been open about being queer as well. And people, celebrities, other people on the internet said, quote, "We lost 3 lesbians this month." Someone embracing who they are doesn't mean you've lost. Like, we don't need to view the LGBTQ community as a sports game. Like, oh, if they're a lesbian, a score for my team. If they're bisexual, a score for my team. If they're transgender, a score for my team. Like, we should just celebrate everyone. And if someone is comfortable enough to share their relationship publicly and how they have shifted in, like, oh, I was dating a woman, now I'm dating a man, but I've always been bisexual, let's celebrate that. Like, we don't need to view them as a score point, because how would you feel as a human if you were like, oh, I'm engaged, or like, I'm dating a man, and people responded like, oh, we've lost you. Like, I'm really sorry, but like, that's really disgusting, and also impacts people. Like, your words really impact people. Artists will see your comments, and I hope you feel a little bit ashamed by that, because your comments are not kind. They are really mean. And thankfully, when I came out as bisexual, I didn't feel that the community felt betrayed by me. In fact, my lesbian friends were so supportive and celebrated me, but they were my real life lesbian friends were some of the first people I confided in, that I was like, hey girls, I'm kind of embarrassed by this, but I think I'm bisexual. Like, do you feel are you mad at me? Like, that was my, like, I'm sorry. Like, I wanted to apologize to them, and they were like, girl, you do not need to apologize. Like, you're still a member of the community. We're going to celebrate you. Show up with us at Pride. Like, I want to celebrate people no matter what their walk of life in their journey and their sexuality. And like, I understand people saying sexuality, when people say sexuality is fluid as a lesbian, that concerns me, because like, I'm a lesbian and I'm not interested in men and my sexuality is not fluid. Good for you. But when you hear a phrase like sexuality is fluid or I've changed, they're talking about themselves. Like, that doesn't apply to you. Like, not everything is about you. And for me, I think we just need to take that as Pride. Like, please, going forward, if you hear something you disagree with when someone talks about their sexuality, let that be for them. Like, you don't need to apply it to you, and you don't need to take it as a personal attack on your sexuality, because we have enough going on bad in the world without getting mad at our fellow people in our community. Like, I'm not mad at anybody for feeling offended by Jojo Siwa and Fletcher and Billie Eilish and other celebrities for being out about their bisexuality. I'm not mad at you if you're upset by that. I just want to say, can you please not be upset by that? Because we have real life concerns, like people pushing for the abolition of LGBTQ rights in the United States. Like, let's focus on that, this Pride. Let's focus on celebrating each other, fighting for our rights, and being proud for who we are, because all of us deserve space in the LGBTQ community to exist as we are, to express our experiences, and to not take someone else's experience as a personal attack, because all of us have different journeys, all of us have different family reactions. And that's my little moment of Pride discourse for June 2025. I can't believe that Jojo Siwa has showed up in my Pride discourse videos. I didn't even know they were Pride discourse videos, but they're just like topics around Pride that happen. Like, every single June there's some sort of topic we gotta talk about. That Jojo Siwa has been in 2 of them. One time I was arguing about why she was afraid to say the word lesbian. Turns out she wasn't a lesbian, so maybe that clued us in. And last year I talked about why corporations are like stepping back from celebrating Pride, which is more relevant than ever, because this year more corporations have pulled back from celebrating Pride than ever before. And I think my video from last year is as relevant as it was then as it is today, if you want to check that out. Anyway, my name is Liz, and if you like this video, if you didn't like this video, don't tell me, but if you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment. I love me some comments. If you want to stick around and subscribe, that would be amazing, and I will see you guys all over the internet. Till next time, see ya.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.